There's this moment when I walk through the doors of GLAAD and I see our name on that door. I think about all the incredible, talented people who work in this organization. I think about all the amazing, compassionate supporters who have built this organization into what it is today. And I feel both pride and responsibility. The legal victories that we've won have impacted every single person in our community. It's helped our country live up to its ideals of equality and justice. Our community has always struggled to have our families recognized. So we have fought for decades to ensure that all families are protected, that all children have a secure relationship with their parents, regardless of what that family looks like and regardless of how that family was formed.
Because I wasn't married and because I did not adopt the children, the law says I was essentially just a legal stranger. I was just like, no, you're not a parent. I was like, but I am. And their mother. You know, I've cared for them from the day they were born. I gave them their first bath. Really was supposed to be a very low-key type of, you know, I have an attorney, could we just work this out? And then my ex had ended up getting a big-time litigation attorney. That's when GLAAD got involved, basically saying that you do have rights as a parent.
Parentage for children should be marital status neutral and gender neutral. All children should have the same protections regardless of whether their parents are married or regardless of whether their parents are the same or different sex. This is a new argument. This is a way the statute has never been applied before, and GLAAD helped the court see that the parentage statutes applied equally to her. And that was a total game changer. It just opens up access to the courts, protections for children in a way that we did not have before.
The court ruling meant that my kids were safe. I was going to continue to be mommy, as I always have been, but now I don't have to worry from day to day if somebody's going to take that away from me and take it away from them. The road to get there, stuff. It consumes your life to go through something like that. But it turned out the right way.
When you have the story of one courageous plaintiff who's willing to come out and talk about how they've been harmed, that's what moves people, and that's what changes the law. We've been fighting to make sure that people living with HIV have a voice in the courts, that their rights are protected in the courts. These fights are still there because people in society still have deep discomfort when it comes to LGBTQ people and people living with HIV.
All of a sudden, we get this cease and desist order, which required us to immediately stop handing out syringes. We were seeing hundreds of people during that period who were coming in for syringes, Narcan, testing, everything. Science has known for several decades that a syringe is an easy way to transmit illness. So the clean needle is a major tool in helping prevent the spread of disease. I knew we were not breaking any laws, so we contacted GLAAD.
I wish it were only about education and awareness, but it's really about devaluing people's lives. Clean needles are a foolproof way to prevent HIV and hepatitis C transmission among people who inject drugs. You cannot get those diseases if you're using a clean needle. And yet the town of Barnstable shut down a very successful program that provided clean needles to people who inject drugs.
Cape Cod is experiencing the worst opioid epidemic in the state. We have the highest incidence rate of fatal overdoses. We are not seeing a decrease in overdoses right now. You know, what this did is prevent people who were trying to at least help themselves, that we can help them as much as we can, and they no longer had that.
I'm still a little naive because I thought we would call the town's lawyer and explain to them not only that this is illegal, but that they're putting people's lives at risk, and that would be the end of the matter. Instead, the town fought this every step of the way, all the way to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. So we said to the judge, people's lives are at stake. You need to reopen this program today. And he did. The Supreme Judicial Court decided that a private organization in Massachusetts can distribute clean needles to anyone, including people who inject drugs, and that there are no limitations.
It wasn't just about the law and just about the needles and just about legal. It became a passionate ruling that we need to take care of these people. These are our family, our friends, our sons, our daughters, and we can't turn our backs on them.
My hope for future generations is to be able to have every opportunity, regardless of who they are and who they love, have their differences celebrated as part of the beautiful diversity of our society. I think that would be pretty powerful. And that's exactly what John has done for Nick, is to love and protect his child exactly as who he is.
When they made me wear dresses, I would say, well, boys don't wear dresses. And then my mom would say, well, some boys do. And I would say, well, this boy does not wear a dress.
You know, he was so young. At 3, he was showing signs of, I'm a boy. And at 4, he really started to verbalize that. And, you know, we want a healthy and happy child. So as many people questioned us on why are you letting a 5-year-old transition from being a female to a male, we said, we're going to support Nick's journey. We had so many questions and so many concerns about Nick going into school as a boy. There wasn't much guidance and policies in our school systems at the time. And so people said, you need to talk to GLAAD.
Documentation does not determine who a person is, but it can convey misinformation. And it can create more struggles and more barriers. It may determine how teachers in school refer to someone. It may provide, inaccurate information about what sports teams somebody should play on. And so for Nick, it was important to change the gender marker on his birth certificate.
I went to the building to go pick it up and still wasn't sure if it was going to get changed. And I remember opening it up and starting to cry immediately.
Well, I knew I was a boy all along, but now the whole world knows I'm a boy.
Nick was the first child to have that gender marker changed, and so we knew we were supporting our son, but also we saw what GLAAD was doing, not just for us, but for so many kids out there and families in the community. We know and we hope that people will continue to support GLAAD to make sure that people in this world have a group of people that care about them and fight for their rights and make sure that they have every access to employment or housing or opportunities to be a kid.
Really what we are trying to do is gain recognition for the basic humanity of transgender people. There are people that question the legitimacy of our lives, whether or not we exist, and so we need to really make sure that transgender people are fully integrated across the fabric of our society.
We need places like GLAAD that will step up and fight for the underdog.
We're getting closer every day. We are getting closer to our ideas of justice and equality and compassion and love that our community has always fought for and has always embodied. It's about opening up empathy. It's about creating commonalities through the stories that our plaintiffs tell. That is what grabs people's hearts. That is what changes their minds. That's what really matters at the end of the day.